Are you a fan of Team Builder Dynasty Rebuilds, but not so much that you're forced to get excited about the matchups against the Nevadas and the Buffaloes of the world for the first few years of that rebuild? Then this might be the dynasty for you. Introducing the Utah Tech Gremlins Dynasty, where we are not only using a Team Builder squad, but a 0 overall Team Builder, and we're putting them straight into one of the toughest conferences in all of college football, the Big Ten, which has our most recent national champion. If you're excited for this kind of dynasty, please do me a favor and drop a like on the video, letting me know you're excited for future episodes. Normally, this would be where I'd introduce you to the squad, but when you have a quarterback that can't do a single thing well, throwing to a receiver who isn't even good enough to be a diva, and then throw them with a captain of a defense at this linebacker spot that has fewer brain cells than a carrot, there's just not much nice to say about it. And you know what they say when there's nothing nice to say. So instead, I'll introduce the program we've built for this dynasty rebuild. Now, fair disclosure, I'm not the most creative guy ever. So take that into consideration when assessing the quality of the uniforms and such for Utah Tech. My brain is math and numbers, not the shapes and colors or whatever is in the noggin of you more creative folk. Utah Tech is located in Lehi, Utah, the location of a lot of tech companies and startups in the state, so fitting for a team like Utah Tech. Located between Utah's two other large schools, Utah and BYU, we decided not to be the third Utah school in the Big 12, opting for a bigger challenge instead with the Big 10. That being said, we will still have a rivalry with BYU, along with a couple of in-conference rivalries with our Big 10 competitors, UCLA and Oregon. I wanted a high-end rivalry that will be very tough for us to get wins. See Oregon, and more of maybe a mid to lower tier rivalry in the conference. See UCLA. 3 rivalries in total for our Gremlins. Looking at our school grades, this is definitely a school with some serious money poured into it. Ryan Smith, the current owner of the Utah Jazz and recently relocated Utah Mammoths of the NHL, has decided to now add a university to the mix in Utah, putting some serious funding into the stadium, facilities, and campus as a whole to make it an appealing place for prospects around the nation to take their talents to Utah in his quest to alter the nation's vision of Utah sports that he's been on for a while now. As for the uniforms, we've got 4 options, and again, I'll state my lack of real creative abilities to make something incredible in this area. But as an Eagles fan, one of my goals of this team builder was to make something similar to those sweet Kelly Green uniforms, something kind of inspired by those. So these are inspired by Philly as well as North Texas here. The field is also going to be pretty basic, but the stadium we have is going to be a really good size for a new program. Again, going back to that Ryan Smith funding, competing with other stadiums in the Big Ten. The Swig Stadium, inspired by many soda shops littered around Utah, has a capacity of 66,000. At this point of the video, I have to let you know about the style and the format of the rebuilds I do on my channel, which are a bit different than the more traditional YouTube rebuilds, where you play every game and an episode is every week. This first year will be an exception, of course, because we have a 0 overall squad, so no point watching them play at all. But in future years, I like to focus on key games throughout the season, be that rivalry weeks, big visit weeks, or big road matchups. Typically, I'll focus in on roughly 6 out of the 12 games in the season, and the rest will just be quick sims, and we'll look at the box scores. It allows me to get through more years without having to do 80 episodes just to get through 5 years, for example. Additionally, I like to play more of a general manager style role on my channel, where it's my responsibility to build, progress, maintain the roster, but when it comes to game day, it is out of my hands. This results in me watching the games in a CPU versus CPU style like you're seeing on the screen right now. I know this style isn't for everyone, but if you've never given it a chance, I'd really encourage you to try and watch it for this series, as it could be a ton of fun to let your players have 100% control of the success or lack thereof of your team, rather than depending on, a user's ability to diagnose defenses and make the right reads or call up the right blitzes, etc., etc. You could still influence the game with things like playbooks and the like, but ultimately I like to let my players do the talking and not, force feed a wide receiver one because I'm just going to throw to him every time, etc. It's just my preferred style of play. I know it's not for everyone, but again, if you've never given it a serious try, I'd encourage you to do so for this rebuild. And the last thing I wanted to talk about quickly here was a little bit of my settings here. I do plan on doing things manually, progression-wise, although I can be convinced otherwise. We'll be doing some extended quarters with some accelerated clock, and I'll be slightly reducing some wear and tear on kind of the normal tackles. I'll keep it the same for kind of the bigger hits, but those are the changes I'm making to my settings. And that's going to be it for the first episode of the Utah Tech Gremlins Dynasty, more of an introductory episode for sure. In the next episode, we will be going through the entire season, focusing solely on the recruiting side as we try to build our year one squad, which will be debuting very, very soon. And I'll see you then. Go Gremlins.